Hey everybody, welcome. This is Mazarine Trays of Well Done Fundraising and Get the Job Your Fundraising Career Empowerment Guide. So this is the latest in a series of videos about how you can get a better job now. And today we're going to be talking about interview questions. So even if you get an interview, that's just no guarantee that you get the job. And a lot of people make the mistake of walking into a bad situation when they really don't have to because they didn't ask the right interview questions. Today, we're going to be looking at a couple of resources from my book that will help you learn how to ask the right questions in the interview. So let's get started. The first question that I would ask in any job interview, whether it's a fundraising job or another job, is who will I learn from and how? That little question will allow you to see if in fact this place is going to support you to be successful, because chances are somebody knows things about how you should be doing your job as a fundraiser, either the previous person, and this is a great kind of little pointer to see, are they still around? Do they leave in a huff? Are you going to find that all the database files are messed up or the grant files are missing? This is a subtle way that you can figure out who is going to be supportive of you to succeed. One thing that I'm doing right now is I'm working with a development director in her first 90 days on the job as a consultant, and I was hired by her boss and the CEO of this nonprofit, and it's going really, really well, and I'd highly encourage anyone who's starting a fundraising job to consider getting consulting support right from the get-go, because you'll have the benefit of someone else's experience and you won't be flying blind, at least not as blind as you would be otherwise. So the next question that you should be asking is, how do you celebrate what's working here? And this is one of my very favorite questions, because how do you celebrate what's working means that you actually celebrate things instead of always looking for what's wrong. And so it's a great workplace culture question. So even if you get like $1,000 grant, can it be like high fives around the room? Even if there's just like, we're all going to go take a walk and get coffee together. Something really small is really big, and it's really helps when you need to keep going when it's grueling and hard also in this job, in this world. So another question you can ask, aside from who will I learn from and how do you celebrate what's working here, is what do you do when the going gets tough? Or how do you resolve conflict here? So those two questions are kind of tied together, right? But we want to see what their personal coping mechanisms are. And then you also want to see what are the interpersonal mechanisms for when there's miscommunication. And if there is no real established process for that, that's a red flag. And I've asked each and every one of these questions in an interview before and had people just not know. And then I knew I didn't want that job. So who will I learn from and how? How do you celebrate what's working here? What will you do when things get stressful? And the healthy answer to that is, we all go take a walk, or we do yoga, or we generally just get out of the office, blow off steam, and come back. That's what I'd recommend. Or even just go take like a breather in the conference room and lay down. You have to have healthy coping mechanisms that don't include like, I open up the bottom drawer and take a swig of Jack. So that's just a simple question. All of these are legal questions to ask. Another question you should be asking is, how willing are people to help each other here? And the reason why you want to ask that question is because you want to see if it's all hands on deck for your event, for your appeal letter stuffing, for your volunteer management, or who's going to pick up the phone when you have to be away from your desk, right? If people are willing to help each other here, that's going to be a supportive environment for you as a fundraiser. Whereas if people are not super willing, then you know that like there's trust that needs to be built up, or there is something wrong with this organization that people aren't willing to help each other. They might say that it is, for example, but you might want to give an example of like, oh, great, can you give me an example of that? So those are some of the key questions that I would ask. And I'm going to share my screen with you to show you some of my cheat sheet of questions that will be useful for you. So here you go. Who is held up as a hero here and what for? That's one I didn't tell you about yet, but that's definitely something that I would highly recommend that you ask, because if the people who are held up as a hero are the people that are working 80, 90 hours a week, that you don't want to work there, because that job is going to suck you dry. I had asked this in an interview once and they said, oh, the people that we serve. But again, it's really about the workplace culture. So of course you want to hold up as here are the people that we serve. But, when it comes to workplace, who here is saying, oh, I wish I could be more like this person when I work? You want to see how far ahead they've thought about this position. So what keeps you going when things get stressful? Where do you see this position going in the next few years? What are 2 or 3 significant things you would want me to accomplish in my first few months? So you want to see if they've thought short-term and long-term, and that you want to see if they've thought steps for your position to be successful. If they don't have answers to these questions, that is a red flag. If you want development-specific questions, I have many of them. So for example, what is the focus of the strategic plan right now? What is the focus of development plan? If they say, I don't know and I don't know, red flag. Who is the person previously in the position and why did they have this job? Or why did they leave? For your boss, what is your management style? What sort of person are you looking for in this position? For the executive director, if it's a small nonprofit, you might want to say how much of your job is currently securing major gifts and how much would you like it to be? Because this is the most effective way to fundraise, hands down. So you want to make sure that this person is dedicated to seeing that succeed, that particular aspect of your program succeed. And if they don't want to fundraise, if they're hands off about it, you need to get out of there, because every single person in this organization needs to be able to support the fundraising program. And if the boss doesn't want to do it, the fish rots from the head, and you're just not going to be able to get anyone to help you. So, and he's probably, or she's probably not going to be forthcoming with helping the board fundraise either. So, that is why you ask this question. And I have many, many more of these questions inside my book, Get the Job, Your Fundraising Career Empowerment Guide. As you can see here, many, many questions, but those are some of the ones that I think you should be thinking about. The last couple I'd like to leave you with is, how often has this position been filled in the past 2 to 5 years? This is to see if you are walking into a landmine. What would you like done differently by the next person who fills this position? Because you want to see what they're really looking for and what strategies did not work before for the previous person. And are they blaming themselves or are they blaming the person? And if it's been filled 5 times in the last 5 years, it's about them. It's not about you. How much can I most quickly become a strong contributor within the organization? And then how will my performance be evaluated and at what frequency? So if you can ask these questions, you can quickly see what metrics matter to them. And also you can see, if they've even thought about how you can be successful rather than just saying, okay, at the end of the year, did you raise me money? So these may be very thoughtful questions that are just going to leave them thinking, oh my God, I have no idea. I'm completely unprepared. This person is making me feel like I'm a disorganized wreck, and you can just read their face at that point and say, okay, this is something that I would be helping you understand how to measure me if you don't know how. But the point is that we measure my progress so that we can track the results in a consistent, timely way every single month, because last thing I want is surprises for you or for other people. And then of course the typical ones, what are the most challenging aspects of this job? And if they haven't already thought about that, if they haven't gone back and looked at who else had been in this role and what challenged them, that's a red flag. Let them think about this one though. They might actually have a lot of challenges that they're not sharing with you. So anyway, those are just a few of the questions that I would ask in an interview. And in the next video, we'll talk about the questions that they're going to ask you and how you can answer those in a way that's going to be successful for you.